Hello and welcome to session 1 of 4 for Sprawl Touched Prime, which is the Sprawl is a cyberpunk RPG. Quite nice. It's a PbtA RPG. Has a kind of a structured play setup that I'll come back to, but this one has a lot of fantastic elements. And it's really Shadowrun. It's really Shadowrun, but with the serial numbers gone. So we're playing it straight as pretty much just Shadowrun. But I'm not Shadowrun like from the books or specific things, but like all of us go, oh, well, here's what I remember from Shadowrun, or here's what I think Shadowrun is. That's what it's going to be. That's how we're playing it today. It is Shadowrun for those who are not engaged in the canon. That is going to be what we're going to do. And I'll talk about what that means in a second. My name is Lowell, and my pronouns are he, him. And this session is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. The Gauntlet is an online gaming club. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. And we have a publishing arm as well, in addition to this sort of online calendar that we do. If you like this session, I've recorded some other sessions of the Sprawl as well, and in some more conventional things. I was only able to get 2 sessions of the 1980s retro punk fantasy thing that Stephen played in of this last month, which was pretty wild. So one thing I'm going to say, this is a game of high lethality at times, when you might be like, oh, I'm in pretty good shape. But then when you go to roll the harm move, you might be like, what is with this game? Embrace that. Embrace your loss of limbs. Embrace all of the bad things that are going to happen to you. That's all I'm going to say. Sometimes you walk away clean, and that's good too. So I'm going to do cats, which is our concept, approach, tone, and then safety is how I define it. We're going to talk about what that is, and then we're going to roll into character creation. So the basic concept is cyberpunk operatives in a world where humanity has been changed. A variety of divergent human peoples have emerged. Trolls, orcs, vampires, all of those things have happened as a result of this magical change. And in addition, there are magical rifts, there are spirits and dangerous things. It is, of course, a world dominated by evil corporations. And so it's a lot like our own in that regard that are around. And so it's a kind of an imaginary cyberpunk here. Our approach, this is interesting. So the Sprawl has a very structured play. We get a job, and there's some questions, and there's a role for getting a job. And that rolls us into the legwork phase, where you kind of figure out what exactly you need to do, and then how you want to do it. And that also is a phase where you generate resources of intel and gear, which are expendable resources. Do the legwork phase too long, and you'll alert your enemy. And you'll also cause problems in the end when you go to get paid. You do the mission, and I've been trying to approach it a little bit like Blades in the Dark, where we kind of do an approach roll and get into it to see where we're at. And then once you've completed the mission, then you go to get paid, and there's a role for getting paid. The role for getting paid is how many legwork segments on this legwork clock you didn't use. So that is what can happen there. So those are the important things. There's a lot of clocks in the game that you may hear us talking about. Each of the corporations that we're going to identify will have a clock about how angry they are at the team. And when they fill up, then the corp is out for you. And that's the basics of it. Our tone here, it's gritty, but it's Shadowrun, and it's goofy, it's big action, it's widescreen. It's gritty but not dark. Our characters are mercenaries. They're trying to survive. They're not villains. They are maybe in a morally gray space, but they're not out and out villains. To support that concept, we have some safety tools that we're using. One of them is that we have lines and veils, and this is on a tab of our character creature, our character keeper over here. And I've got lines, which are hard lines of things we don't want to see in play, and then veil, anything we want to fade away from if it would appear on screen. Feel free to add things to those. And throughout the character creation process, go ahead and mark any of your picks on that. And before we actually get to running the mission, we'll stop and check in on that and make sure where we're at. Our second tool is, I know everyone familiar with, we're using the X card, of course. I'll mention the thing, I always forget to do this, but Rich told me if the first time something pops up, you're like, I'm okay with that. But then later on, you're like, you know what? No, I'm not. It is legit to later X card something that you let go past if it begins to bug you. That's an important feature, because I know sometimes there can be some pressure of, oh, well, people are okay with it. But if you're not, then boom, we X card it and we move on past that. The last thing is the open door, meaning that if you need to step away, if you need to take a break, you can do that. It'd be cool if you wanted to say something in the chat, like be right back or whatever, but you're not obliged to. That is cool. And this also applies between sessions. If you've played in a session and you're like, ooh, that was not the game for me, it is 100% legit to say, I'm not going to be there for session 2. You don't have to explain yourself. Done. I'm not gonna demand it. So that's an important thing to have out there. All right. So I know that our players have chosen their playbooks. So what I want to do is have everybody just go and give us the 30-second pitch on which play that they chose and just generally what they're thinking about. And then we'll walk through the character creation process. I'm going to start with Rich, since Rich was the first one here. Rich, just give us the elevator pitch on who you are.
Playing an orc because I get the opportunity to play an orc. Everything else is kind of secondary, but I do love me some Shadowrun. Honestly, when I first got into indie games, as I would get excited about an indie game, I would try to play Shadowrun with it. I did this for probably a year and a half before I kind of said, this is stupid. I should take each game as itself. But I snaked this from Jamie. I'm sorry. I actually meant to email back and say I'm sorry because you said that you were interested in the killer. But
no, but you had first dibs. I didn't see it.
Well, yeah, but there should be dibs. But anyway,
this gave me an excuse to go for the warlock. So
yeah, when you got excited with the warlock, I felt less bad. I'm playing the killer playbook, and the street name, the street samurai name of my orc, he goes by Grumsh. And I've really just kind of backed my way in with my special weapon to make it an Ares Predator, because really I was just like started with Ares Predator and then tried to find mechanics to make it go.
Perfect. And a word about this. We're playing Shadowrun with all these different fantasy peoples. There is no racial essentialism in this. Players will get to decide not like what all orcs are like or what all things are like, but like what the orcs they're from are, where they were raised, what their upbringing is, what people think about them. Same thing with humans. We'll define that. So you get to have a cool look and tell us what's sweet about them when we come to that. Stephen, tell us about the elevator pitch on who you are.
So I chose the playbook of Mage, and it's because I've played the Sprawl a few times, and I haven't ever played a Mage or gotten a chance to. And I kind of wanted to see what that was like. My experience with Cyberpunk, I always kind of knew what it was, but I never really played it. I'm sorry, with Shadowrun. I always kind of knew what it was, but I never really played it until like 5 or 6 years ago. And by then, the mechanics were really clunky and it hadn't aged really well. So I'm kind of excited to play in a Shadowrun game and get that flavor without, being frustrated. Yeah.
Just to say, it aged just right. Like it's the same level. Like every edition is the same level of crunch that doesn't really do great.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay, That's it.
I did run Shadowrun Anarchy, which is the
Oh,
rules
I was
light.
gonna ask, how is it? Because it looks rules light, but it read like D&D.
It's
so
terrible.
crunchy.
It
Okay.
is terrible. It has a bunch of rules that do nothing, but that
Oh,
add a
gosh.
bunch of detail, and it may well be the worst proofread RPG book I've ever gone through.
No.
It's
Oh no.
it's
I
really
tried
bad.
reading it so many times I couldn't get through it.
It's
So.
got cool character pictures, like the NPC
Yeah.
pictures, and the missions are great. And the background for Shadowrun, if you're looking for a quick primer on Shadowrun, it's great. But the mechanics itself, not so
That's
good.
really cool. The primer Shadowrun approach for Anarchy. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's pretty smart for that. And then Patrick.
Tabs. So I am playing the driver. His name is Jinshu, and I found this amazing picture on your Pinterest board.
Oh yeah.
And so it led me into thinking about the like Japanese parts of Shadowrun and the Megacorps. And so this is definitely someone who has stolen / liberated his special vehicle or vehicles. I think it's going to turn out. I went with the Mitsuhama Computer Technologies as a major corp that'll be on his back because he stole it. And honestly, besides like his badass Darth Vader car, that's about all I know at the moment.
That's perfect. I will tell you, whenever I see a car like that, a driver thing, I have the Knight Rider theme going through my head. I can't stop it.
Okay, so I've been sitting here thinking, I was reading a little bit about Mitsuhama, and they do like computer and AI technologies, and they also do a lot of entertainment.
Please let the car talk.
So I had sort of had this thought that maybe this was like future cyberpunk Knight Rider reboot, but action reality show.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. We're going there. We're doing
100%.
this.
I just started rewatching the series.
Oh no.
It's such a joy.
No.
Okay, so revamp. I'm Japanese runaway, future Knight Rider. Guys,
Okay.
It's happening. This is
I
real.
like it. And then Jamie, tell us your elevator pitch.
Yeah, I was also drawn to the Pinterest image. I was like, a vampire in Shadowrun. I have to try this. So I played a lot of Shadowrun. I kept trying over and over again. I've had like 5 campaigns. It's really I love the world, but the system is just anyway. So but yeah. But so I'm playing a thrall because I thought that was really interesting. That's something I haven't really seen. I was really drawn to the weird dice mechanic. I want to see how that'll work in play. I just love the idea of having a warlock in a cyberpunk setting. So I just really like that. We'll see how it plays out.
I'm glad you're doing it because it is a wild playbook. It's one of the most variant playbooks I've seen in the game, certainly in this game.
Yeah, and I also got the High Priest move, so like I'm imagining like full on. I just watched Promare, right? So like I'm thinking, like I have my boys, and we are like a laid back cult. I'm not sure what yet. So
awesome. So what you need to choose, and I know some people have already started to put these in here, playbook, name, your stats. You may notice the synth stat. This one that often gets a question. The synth stat is a stat that is used if you have a piece of cyberware that you want to sub in, for a particular move. Like if you have cyber arms and you want to, and if they let you sub in synth and mix it up and things like that. So there are different cyberware things that allow you to do that. And you'll choose your cyberware, choose your playbook moves, choose your gear. You choose your directives. You'll have 2 directives, which are 2 sources of XP, which will have you go through in a bit. The other source of XP is that on each step of the mission, you'll mark XP. There are directives. So, for example, when you take the job, you're going to mark an XP. And then at each of the tasks along the way of the job, you'll also mark XP. I can't remember if this is right, but I do have people mark XP on a miss because we've only got 4 sessions and life is too short not to mark XP on a miss for these kinds of things. So what I want to do is let all of you kind of look through, get any choices in there, take a second look if you haven't, and then I'm going to come and ask you, we're going to ask about the cyberware that you have, because there's some questions about, you know, who owns it and where you got it, and that'll change some clocks. And then when we kind of get that established and check in with everybody, then we'll go through and do the links and stuff. So I'll give you just a couple of minutes on that. I'll look over where everybody is at. Everybody is way ahead of the game.
Yeah, sorry, I got so excited.
Okay.
I just want to double check because the directives for the thrall, there's a lot about hindering the mission, and so I just wanted to check if people are okay with what I have. I can change whatever.
I'd like to be honest and say I'd rather not have I almost like I don't.
Yeah, no, I'm cool with changing anything.
Yeah, I saw the veil go up on PC Betrayal, so I was like, okay, good.
Yeah, because like I was looking at it, and it's all just.
Feel free to revise those too if you want to. Yeah,
okay.
I'm absolutely cool with that.
Well, I mean, I think it does take a little discussion, just because most of the playbooks have at least half of their triggers, which are like getting in the way of the mission.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like,
so maybe we should talk about like intentional sabotage versus just the facts of my life or my background get in the way of the mission.
Yeah, what I think what the Sprawl wants you to do is, like, if you get in a bad place and can do something essentially kind of for your own interest slightly, we've always played it as slight disruptions rather than completely derailing. I think that's the way we've always handled that. But
in my mind,
mm-hmm.
In my mind, it was always if things are going too well, this gives players an XP cookie to mess things up and make things more dangerous. But that depends on the player a lot. I trust all you guys, so I think that's fine for me. But I have one that's like, I was conflicted with mine, and mine is whenever you deliberately hinder the mission to find out more about rifts, and it's easy for me to change that because the other one had to do with that. It's no problem. So I'm going to fix that.
Yeah. Usually it comes down to like, am I going to leave with the group, or do I want to go and steal this extra thing? And then the people go and steal the extra thing and mark the XP. Alexi from the other game. So if you want to change that, good, but if not, what we'll do is we'll recognize that we'll check in on those situations and make sure that everybody's cool with any other choices. And I think that's fair. I played Cyberpunk in the high days of PCs betraying and killing each other. Welcome to the 90s. And I remember these times well. I remember the GM making me play my character from a hospital bed for 3 sessions. So
what?
Yes. Yes.
Oh gosh.
Good times. Good times.
The 90s.
Oh yeah.
I think I just want to reword it to when you possibly complicate the mission. Can I do that? Is that okay?
Yeah. I think complicate's actually a good way to look at it. Pull up my little book here.
And when I chose protective, I was just assuming that would be one of the other player characters, and I just figure out why.
Yeah.
So when I put
Yeah, you have nice ones.
responsibility
Like,
to blah ahead of the mission mark experience. So I will potentially hinder the mission, but it would be for a PC.
I like that. That's a good connection. Rich, are you ready if I were to like say, hey, tell me about your character, and then I start asking you cyberware questions? Are you good?
Yes.
Then let's begin. Grumsh? Is it Grumsh? Am I
Yeah.
saying it right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
once I say
if
it
I
wrong,
don't
I'll
like
say
you,
it.
yeah, no, you, Lowell, said it right. There will be other NPCs who I will correct the way that they've said it
Okay.
because I find them uninteresting.
All right. Let's hear about him.
Grumsh fought for UCAS. He was brought in. It wasn't really his choice. He was brought in mostly because he came from a real poor family, and that was a way to get a stable job. So he, like his parents said, go here. And then he was in UCAS military. Then he goblinized. So he got moved to some spec ops. And that's where they stuck dermal plating under his skin, kind of peeled back all the layers of his skin, stuck dermal plating under there, and also where all of his nerves were wired and replaced, and he received synthetic nerves. So they have literally peeled his body apart and rebuilt it. He's not bitter. He mustered out, or so we thought, although because they'd put so many millions of Nuyen into him, they always have their hooks in. Are we in Seattle?
Yep.
So he's traveled all the way from UCAS, which is way, way far away, into Seattle. First thing that he did was he joined a street gang known as the Hat Reds. They wear red hats. The first generation of the Hat Reds were the Hatreds, but due to illiteracy and wearing cool red hats, they became the Hat Reds. He infiltrated that gang and was pretty happy, and then UCAS came calling, and so he had to betray them. There are a number of the Hat Reds who are still around, and now he works jobs and has a team, and he first formed a team or joined a team that he was hoping he didn't care about anymore as of what he had to do to the Hat Reds. But then that team's mostly dead. Now he's with these guys. He is a totally kick-ass Ares Predator. It is his custom weapon. 2 damage, close, near, loud, quick, silenced, and automatic. And also he has the move Serious Badass. So he gets to roll with style, which it turns out Grumsh has a little bit of style. So he's got a good amount of cred and hard eyes, a weathered face, muscular body, a really kick-ass kind of pompadour greaser hairstyle going on with a not really armored leather coat, because why wear armor over dermal plating? You could run around in a G-string. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, but he does not. But he could. He could if he wanted to.
Fair enough.
Assless chaps is a thing in his wardrobe. Not that he's worn them, but he got it as a present. He couldn't get rid of it. That's Grumsh.
And your directives?
Directives. He is protective. When he puts his responsibility towards someone within this team ahead of the mission, he'll mark experience. And he's masochistic. When he suffers one or more harm, mark experience. And he's not masochistic as in, like, I don't envision that as he seeks to be harmed. I see it as he has no problems whatsoever being harmed to put forward the advancement of the mission or in pursuit of protecting his team.
For your cyberware, you chose military, right? That's sort of the source of it. And is that, were you saying that a particular corp owns you? Or did you? Okay.
Yeah, I chose for, he's owned by the UCAS military. While he's officially mustered out and there is no paper trail, yeah, the UCAS can drop dime on him and he'll do what he has to do.
So do you imagine the orcs in Seattle that we have here. You've established yourself. You're a little bit older, one of the maybe late wave people who got goblinized.
Mhm.
Do you mention that there's a unified orcish culture? Are there different groupings? Where does Grumpsh figure that he fits within that cultural matrix?
Even though he's from UCAS, has a little bit of an accent that is not native to Seattle. I imagine it's a pretty cosmopolitan place, so he can kind of mix in. He's tried pretty hard to join one of the cultures, and I'm imagining that the orc culture is a bunch of like fractured fiefdoms, if that makes sense, like large families. But there are a lot of found family because maybe your brother didn't goblinize, but you did. That whole generation's gone through. Now I think that the orcs are starting to breed true. So there's this weird outsider feel to those who goblinize versus those who are born into it. I think that's pretty interesting. I want to play with that.
I like that. I like that very much. I think that's everything. We're going to come back to you and talk with you about links in a bit to get that set up. Stephen, are you ready if I have you go next?
I think I am.
Okay.
I have a question, though.
Sure,
What is
please.
goblinized?
So what it means is, thank you. In the setting, there was a Shadowrun. There was a time when magic was released, and some at that point, some children are born as orcs and elves and things like that, but also people were changed, and they call that goblinization. And it happens to people later in their lives, that they change their makeup, and suddenly find that they have an entirely different, people have a different perception of them. But that's happened less and less as there are more of these stable populations in the world. All right.
It's the 90s game of mechanizing puberty, really? Werewolves, Shadowrun,
Cyber Generation.
Yep.
So I'm Steven. I use the pronouns he, him. I'm playing Zaire Arjun, who goes by the nickname Spark, who also uses the pronouns he, him. He is a mage. He's the mage playbook. And, I need to change my stats. Because do I have the option in this game to start with a 2-touch?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. I think in the other game that I played, you couldn't advance your touch.
Right, because it was sort of early days magic stuff.
That's right. The people and culture I'm with is the Luddy Syndicate. One of his directives is cyberware destroys one's connection with nature, and I disavow cyberware. I think that's making you less and less human. My other directive is when you discover more information about Rift Magic, mark experience. For those who have played the Sprawl, but not other things, but not this Shadowrun touched scenario. My moves are a little bit different. I have Rift Magic, which allows me to do some orbs and all that kind of stuff like you normally would with magic. I have Summon, which allows me to draw one creature forward. I have Vibrant Runes, which allows me to do more harm. And I have Mage Contacts, which is just better whenever I hit the street. And that's really about it. So
tell me about, you come from the Luddy Syndicate. What's up with them?
So I think that this is my mage order, and they disavow the use of cyberware. I think that whenever we discover that one of our members has had, modifications done, they kick them out. That is actually on the playbook under my list of cyberware is what do? You can take an advancement to get cyberware, but if you do, how do you handle it within your order and all of that? I think my order kicks you out.
I like the idea that it is about a rather than a ability thing or even cyberpsychosis thing, that it's about the magical connection. That there's a
Right.
philosophical thing there, right?
And I think that in general, the idea is that, you can deal with people. Everybody's chromed. I mean, everybody has some piece of cyberware. I mean, that's kind of natural in this world. However, as you get more and more of it, you become less and less human. So I think that they especially espouse a view that if someone is like all chromed out, they aren't seen as a person anymore. They're seen more as a machine.
I'm actually gonna X card that.
Okay.
Because there's some discussion about that in cyberpunk. This idea that whole sense of cyberware reducing your humanity is a little bit ableist. So I think if I may suggest that it is a philosophy about magical connection, would that be okay?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, all right, yeah, it's a thing that's come up and literally in the last few years, and I've only become aware of it because I didn't think anything of it. So I hope that's okay.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah,
okay.
That sounds great.
Now I see your picture. You're kind of an Anton LaVey looking fellow here. Tall, short.
Tall. Usually wears robes. Carries a staff. I'm going to see if I can't find a good picture of a staff.
Okay.
I mean, we see all sorts of weird people, in Seattle, but I don't think this stands out too much.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
I think it's
mages. Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than the robe and the staff drawing any attention, it's more the fact that there isn't any obvious artificial limbs or eyes or anything like that.
Let me ask you this: this robe that you wear, fancy, new and clean, well appointed, dirty and scruffy. How would you describe it?
I think that in the dim light, there's little glints that you see of runes on it.
Okay.
And basically, normally it's very dark, but light will reflect off of it in a weird way, and it's usually clean. And I don't know if that's because it's magically clean or just because he spends a lot of time out in the rain and it washes everything off.
I like that. Sidebar: Sherry's first spell she'll take in any game if she can is the clean myself spell to keep her clothing and everything spotless. So I love that.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, I think that gives us a good sense. We'll come back to you when we talk about links. Now the Night Rider song is in my head. Patrick, tell us about Jinshu.
All right. So I still haven't gotten to stats yet. I need to change all those around.
Okay.
But let's see. For moves, I start with wheels, which is my cyber-linked vehicle, which is my piece of cyberware as well. I have second skin, which is a whole set of different roles and modifiers for when I do basic moves, but in the car. And then I chose as my extra move right tool for the job. So I have 2 additional cyber-linked vehicles. So I think I have the car. Vanguard is the car.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have a motorcycle, and I think I have something like an 18-wheeler.
So you're not doing regular Knight Rider; you're doing Knight Rider 2000.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think the 18-wheeler is part of the production side of the show.
Okay.
But yeah, the motorcycle was definitely meant to be like a sidekick sort of thing. But I like the cool aspects of drivery and action car chases and stuff, but I didn't love the aspect of but what if I leave everyone behind? I wanted a way for the driveriness to cover everyone. So we've got lots of different options for vehicles.
I like it. Tell us about your cyberware.
So it's wordy for one and will not fit in a freaking box. But it's a neural interface with remote control module, which is configured at this point to, in this case, to drive vehicles. It gives me wireless broadcasting and reception capacity with the cars. I didn't pick up the satellite link for it, so I've still got to be relatively close.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it from across the country or whatever. But I could. I did add multitasking to it, so I can drive all the vehicles at once. There's a move I may pick up some drones later, so I could play with them as well. And then I went with encrypted just because I figured Vanguard being AI of some level themselves would have some ability to like block out outside intrusion. So those are my tags: encrypted and multitasking. Why I have the cyberware is loyalty to Vanguard themselves. I think I was working on the show. I think it's the sort of thing where like there was one season of the show. Vanguard, obviously. Name of the show. He was the star. But they found out that one of the major...
I have to take just a 2-minute break here. I apologize.
So you were really like on a TV show and everything.
Yes.
Amazing. So do you have like fans? Are there websites dedicated to it?
Of course you have fans. My sister's like one of your biggest fans.
Well, Vanguard has fans. I was working on the show. I wasn't the star. That's my...
So you stole the...
Oh yeah.
My gosh, that's
so Wait, no, you had that walk-on in the duel.
I mean,
my sister will never let me
did several stunt performances, yes.
Totally.
I got one speaking role as a minor in one episode, but I did a couple of like, if you squint from behind, you can sort of see me doing flips or jumping away from explosions.
Oh my gosh. Is it the kind of thing where like, because like right now if you watch, what's that movie where they exchange faces, Nicolas Cage and
Face Off.
Right, when you watch it again now and you watch it in HD, you can see how different the stun look. It's really not them at all. Is that what happened for you? Like you became famous because like the HD reissue?
Yeah, I worked on the show, wasn't the star of the show. That was someone named Aurora, and she's the one that I pissed off for the cyberware. But I developed, I worked with Vanguard a lot, did a lot of the stunt stuff, developed a real relationship with them, and I found out that part of the like dramatic conclusion to season 1 and moving on to the next phase of the show was, of course, that Vanguard would be destroyed, and we'd have Vanguard 2 come in for the next season. And for verisimilitude, they were going to do it. They didn't need to keep up this expensive AI car anymore. They were just going to really blow it up on screen. And so we escaped. Like I said, the cost is you fucked someone over to get it. You're hunted, describe who, and it's obviously Mitsuhama in general. Okay. But in specific, it's Aurora, the auteur propagandist / vid star, who was the lead actor and creative force behind Vanguard, and was going to be using it to promote a lot of like Mitsuhama's goals through cultural influence.
I like it. That is great. So we got a nice hunted for you on that. And it looks like you got Mitsuhama in both of your directives there.
Yeah, basically the different sides of it. So it's rejected when your former membership in Mitsuhama hinders the mission, mark experience. So that's one of those like hindery things, but it's not something that Jinshu necessarily triggers. It's just something about his past. And then the other one is vengeful. When you harm Mitsuhama or their interests, mark experience, which could be something where his decisions get in the way of a mission, possibly. But it's very open to how I want to use it in the situation.
Okay, I like that. I like that very much. That gives us a good sense. We'll come back to you when we talk about links here in just a second. I'm going to go to the corp clocks you go ahead and put Mitsuhama, and I'm going to misspell it as well, as one of the clocks for the corp clocks. Let's then come to our next character, which is Damien. Damien, tell us about your character.
Yeah, so Damien is like, I really based it off of Iggy Pop's Sister Midnight. Like if I brought that music to life, this is what this character would be. So basically, Damien was an elf and was one of those who, through the goblinization, like their family just became more powerful, more long-lived, pretty high up in the corporation. But then it was one of those things where the corporations take out each other. And I found out that there was someone, I don't know who yet, but they made a pact with someone from the other side, with another one of those beings to take out. I'm not sure yet if they took out my family, if they subsumed them and my family is still working somewhere. I haven't so I just put wrong my family because I'm not yet sure.
That seems good, yeah.
Yeah, just so it's open to wherever the story goes. But I rebelled directly and tried to, I assumed my privilege would protect me, and that didn't happen. So I was left for dead. And what ended up happening was a rift opened up at that exact moment. And my master, Sister Midnight, came through and offered me the chance to seek out a path of vengeance if I only followed her. And so I have a church. I feel like it's West Side Story meets 90s anime darkness. Like that's kind of the vibe that's going on in that side of the city. Like the gangs show up and snap fingers and stuff. But anyway, and so...
They ride motorcycles around each other threateningly.
Yeah. They're like battle the band, stuff like that. Like, you know, but then it ends in real bloodshed, stuff like that. Like it's pretty... So we have, let's see. So I have Magic of the Bones, which comes with the character. I think the runes, they come from... I've been working on this vengeance for a long time, so each bone is like from a corp dude or person that I have like taken them from. I won't get into any more detail. Anyway, and I can also call forth, I can use blood magic to summon a spirit for information. Very normal, very basic. And I'm also a high priest. Yeah. I'm still working out like which two. It's so hard to just pick two for the church. I'm still going back and forth on it. Okay. But I do have a gang. I do have my cult. But as far as I know, I'm the only one who really survived the full initiation. I'm not sure if this group is going to, because they eventually have to meet theirs. I don't know if they're going to survive it. Yeah.
And do you have any cyberware? No,
I do not, because I don't think. Oh yeah, I have to mention the vampire part. Like the vampire part was part of the initiation. So, I don't think vampirism is too normal. At least I don't think so. I haven't come across. There may be a secret group out there that I don't know of, but
is it pretty easy to hide your vampirism?
I think so, because I think I still look and appear as an elf. I think the teeth retract if they want to.
Okay.
Yeah. So I appear to be an elf.
So people still regard you as part of your original sort of elven cultural group.
Yeah, with all the privilege that entails, you know.
Yes. That sounds awesome. I think that gives us enough to work on. So we're going to come now back to Grumsh. Grumsh, what we do now is we figure out links. And let me kind of go through what this means. You're going to describe a job that you did where you were kind of the main protagonist, the big person leading this job. You're going to choose a particular corporation that you did the job against. And we've got that on the clocks page. We've got Mitsuhama, and then we've got some others. I've got some drop downs. And so there's actually a little bit down below some discussion of what the different corps are. Once you've done that, then what we're going to do is we're going to go to your left on the character sheet, and that person will describe how they were involved in this job, helping you, crossing paths, all that. And then they will write down that they have +1 links with you. And we'll check with the other players. Each person that does that, we will also tick that clock up for the corp. So there is a point of diminishing returns on some of this. Grumpsh, tell us about a job you ran and who you ran it against.
So one of the early days, this is back with the first team. We had a smash and grab talent acquisition mission on Renraku in their arcology. It went about as well as you could expect.
So Renraku, where and they're of course in trouble because their arcology went nuts a few years ago.
Yeah, so we're fine.
Yeah. I'm sure even though a lot of other places Renraku is around. So what we do is to highlight the first color of that. So then we ask your next person in line, Zaire. That's it. Spark, easy to say. Spark, how were you involved in that particular job?
So we were involved in talent acquisition, is that correct?
Yeah, there was a researcher who wanted out of Renraku, and we helped them do that.
And I think that what was going on was we needed to make sure we got... This researcher was a cultist, and we needed to make sure that they were the right cultist and we didn't try and make contact with a spy. And it was my job to make sure this was the guy.
Excellent. So you will write down 1 link with Grumpsh. Jinshu, were you involved in this job?
I don't think so.
Okay. Damien, were you involved with this job?
Yeah, I think because it was a cult. What did we say?
The person being taken out was a member of a cult.
Oh yeah, and they were a rival cult. So my sister Midnight asked me to make sure it went, interestingly.
Excellent. Then you will write down +1 links with Grumpsh.
Okay.
Why are links important? Because it is the role you make to help someone. All right. Let's come.
So I'm clear, because this is my first time through doing this.
Yeah.
I don't mark any links.
You
They're
don't mark
just
any
marking
links.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yep. I always get that wrong too, so I have to stop and correct myself. It's a little bit like Worldwide Wrestling, where I'm like, well, do they mark down heat or
Who has the heat? Where's the heat?
Oh my gosh, I feel that way every time I play.
I don't understand. Let's come to Spark. Spark, tell us about a job that you ran, and who did you run it against?
So I ran this against As Technology.
Okay.
They had dealt with, they were advertising some of their consumer goods, which I think were, it was like it was a breakfast cereal.
Mm-hmm.
And they were using magical subliminal messages in order to, suddenly it just took over the breakfast market. Everybody was eating it. Everybody was buying it. There was a run on it. Stores couldn't keep it in stock. And
yeah, the Aztec Roonies kind of thing. Okay.
Exactly. And well, actually, I kind of had in mind, maybe it was the, if you're okay, Patrick, maybe it was the cereal associated with your show.
I love it.
Yeah. I don't know what the Vanguard show or the Vanguard cereal or whatever.
Vanguard.
And I think
say it like Viper. Vanguard.
Vanguard.
It is,
Anyway.
and to be clear for viewers at home, it is all capitalized, all periods. I don't know what the acronym is.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the other corps saw this and they were kind of hedging in on, their breakfast cereal profits, and they were like, "Nah, we've got to take down this subliminal advertising that's kind of taking over the consumer zeitgeist."
Excellent. I love the idea that you were part of the cereal wars of the 2046s.
Yes.
That's great. Jinshu, were you involved with this?
I was definitely involved in this. I think Mitsuhama was working with as technologies. It was my links through the show and Vanguard's actual expertise in this sort of subliminal marketing that helped us hook in and figure out how to stop this.
Perfect. Then you will write down one link with Spark. Damien, were you part of this operation?
Ooh. No, I don't think so. Not this one in particular.
Grumpsh, were you part of this operation? You're muted.
Cereal.
Oh, there. Okay, we go.
Huh?
Sorry, for a
Can you
second I
hear me?
didn't hear you. Sorry.
Oh, weird. How could I possibly refuse the opportunity, if presented, to become a serial killer?
Take your link, Dad.
I am literally a dad, so I wear it with pride.
Awesome. Jinshu, tell us about a job that you ran, and who did you run it against?
So I think this was a job for Vanguard's help, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There was a problem in a mission. They got damaged, and it was a very particular part that's not like something that would be easy to replicate or find on the streets. But without Vanguard's backup, like Mitsuhama would be a big one to go after. So we went after a slightly smaller one, and because it's Shadowrun and Shadowrun is ridiculous, we raided the slightly smaller megacorp of Chrysler Nissan. For replacement pump or something in the middle of Vanguard systems.
All right. Well, I've got the capitalization wrong on it, but I'm gonna get that fixed in a second. Excellent. So rated that. Damien, were you part of that operation?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And what did you do on this op to raid this automotive center?
Yeah, I think. Ooh, how Shadowrun do I want to go? I think I found out that what they were trying to do was they were trying to contain spirits to turn them into engines for these cars, and I just, let the revolution happen. I just freed them all at the same time.
Perfect. Mark one link with Jinshu.
Okay.
Grumpsh, were you part of this operation?
Yeah, I got a really good ride out of it. I part of my gear is that I have a motorcycle. I think I stole it there. Yeah, so.
It wasn't until I said the words Chrysler Nissan that you were actually interested.
Maybe.
And Spark, were you part of that?
I was not.
Okay. And that brings us to Damien. Damien, tell us about your job you ran and who you ran it against.
Yeah, so I'd say that what happened was a neighborhood scrimped together what they could to hire us. Because Wuxing Incorporated wanted to, they're trying to sabotage the neighborhood. I'm going to steal from the comics. There was like this ancient set of dragon bones, like down below, underneath the neighborhood, and Wuxing Incorporated wanted to just get everybody out so they could take over and get that stuff. So we had to go in and make sure they knew that the neighborhood was not worth messing with.
Excellent. And Grumpsh, were you part of that?
I I think no. Otherwise, we're going to have so many clocks on so many other stuff. So meta-wise, I think no.
Sure, perfect. What about you, Spark? Were you part of that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Why would I ever pass up the ability to go check out Dragon Bones or something like that? Yeah.
Okay. Then mark a link with Damien. And Jinshu?
100%. I think as a special like one mission kind of thing, we had these drones, which were basically like little mini micro machine cars that Jinshu was driving around for like special infiltration and spy ops stuff.
I like that very much. That gives us our clocks, our starting corporations there. What we're going to do is it's about it's like a little after. Let's go to 10 after. Take our break here, and when we come back, we'll set up the job and do the job. All right.
See you in a bit.
See you. So, the four of you have worked together as a team before a few times. Good enough connections and contacts that you probably have a standing, connection with a particular fixer group and a network that reaches out to you. And I'm gonna say that for the purposes of this, that Grumsh, that at this moment you're the point man that gets called up, and Mr. Johnson calls you up. He is an Adonis, a beautiful body sculpted Adonis. He wears a jacket but no shirt, kind of thing, and all he has cheekbones that could cut glass, and he says, "Mr. Grumsh, I hope that you are doing well.
I am. I hope you're well, Mr. Johnson.
Can you get the rest of your team on the line and then have them come, all of you meet me at Club Breaker in about an hour? I've got a job that is a little timely and I think is right up your alley."
I will gather a team and we'll see you at Breakers.
And when we pull back, Grumsh, where are you? What is the backdrop we see for you now that we kind of pull the camera out?
Yeah, we pull the camera out and Grumsh is standing in an alley. It's soaked in the pink neon from the bar just outside. He's at a Go Gang bar right now, and he stepped out for this call because he's professional.
And then we see the montage. We'll do the clip in of each person receiving their call. Spark, when you get your call and we see you answer, what is it that we see on screen?
I think what we see on screen is Spark is it's kind of a darkened warehouse, and he is kind of sitting down in meditation, and it's quiet, and all you can hear is the raindrops against the roof, and then it's suddenly pierced by this sharp trill, and he picks up this big bulky cell phone because of course, right? And he answers it, and he goes, "I understood. I'll be right there."
I like that it's a trill and not even a good ringtone. That you got the most basic shrill piercing thing. Jinshu, what about for you?
So I think we see Jinshu in like a small cramped room. It's fairly dark. There's the glow of like computer panels in front of him as he's running through some AI diagnostic programs. You see in the background the sort of like gentle red pulse of Vanguard's light as he's just, he's there. He's in the shot. He's part of he's a star. But up on one of the screens, like the lines of AI code sort of down to the side as pops up like a future neon Google Maps, basically, with like an angry red orc icon popping up on a place. He clicks it and sees the communication from Grumsh. He's sort of like crumbles. He switches off some of the screens and climbs up from his desk and then up through a hole in the wall, which is where we sort of discover that this is the back of the 18-wheeler, and he's climbing up into the cabin part of it and starting things up and down the road.
Perfect. And then Damien, what about for you?
Yeah, I think the camera finds Damien in a place that can only be described as Castlevania meets cyberpunk. Like this, there's a 4-poster bed, but there are neon lights. Cybervania, like my partner says. And there are all these bodies on the bed, and then as the phone like comes off, the holo comes on, we see Grumsh's face on the screen. The message comes through, and there's a voice that goes, "Boss, you've got a call. 5 more minutes." But eventually, the boys force Damien into the shower and get him dressed so he can.
A little bit of Howl's moving castle kind of reluctance to
Yeah.
be moved on. Okay.
Yeah, like, no, I don't want to go. It's like, you need to work.
I think we cut to the breaker bar. You know, the pulsing beat in the background. It's a big place. There are lots of these sort of secluded private booths with sound baffling for people to talk with their fixers and get jobs. And we see the four of you. Mr. Johnson sees you coming, stands up, gestures to the table, has very carefully, knows what your favorite drink is, or at least a reasonably favorite drink, and has that set out for you, settles in and says, so, it's good to see all of you. I have a job. I'm going to give you the basic details on it, and then you can tell me if it's up your alley. Parentheses, yes, it is up your alley. He says, so, how familiar are you with the Seattle Blazeball leagues?
I've lost a few new yen on them.
Yes. So as you may know, they're a semi-formal attempt to escape the corporate clutches of the MLB, who have copyrighted baseball. They do street level, semi-formal. It's a little bit of a battle that goes on, but very popular. It's fun. It generates money, and certainly it's evolved in the community over the last few years. There've been some controversies, particularly the designated wizard rule and those kinds of things. So, but people really do like it, and of course, we get certain territories, roped off to be used as these fields. So it's a whole thing. Let me get to the point. You may already be aware of this, but about 2 years or so ago, Renraku managed to slide their way in on this. They took advantage of an existing charter team, the Sakatown Silencers. And for the last 2 seasons, they have run the board. Renraku takes a certain glee from this. It's certainly a publicity thing for them, but also, of course, they're trying to make a point with Seattle here. That has changed. This year, the Gloverfield Goblins have been pushing hard. They've got an exceptional lineup. They've got 3 players that are outstanding. And we're in the playoffs now. Sorry, I say we, but I'm just a fan. They're in the playoffs now. But we believe that there may be action taken against them. And I'll give you more details in a moment, but I want to see if you're interested in dealing with some people who might be trying to harm the spirit of the game.
Just so I'm clear, the Silencers are backed by Renraku. We want the Silencers to do less well.
No. Well, I appreciate your enthusiasm on that point. If I, and that would be a different job for you to take them out. No, we're going to want you to prevent whoever Renraku has hired from harming the goblins.
Got it. I'll glance around at the others because while he called me, it's the team's job.
Corp-free entertainment it's something worth fighting for, I think.
Absolutely. Well then, let's go to the move. There is a move called Get the Job. It is the negotiation phase of this, and someone has to roll edge for this. Who is the person who wishes to roll edge for negotiating the job?
Nobody sucks at it. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's like
think
I
it's.
remember
I think it's.
seeing Edge was related to a lot of good stuff. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say. I think Eddie should be our edge person.
Mhm.
Who's rolling?
Iggy. I said Eddie. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, I was thinking. I
no
was
worries.
like, I don't know what. Eddie.
Whoops.
Yeah,
I'm a dum-dum. Sorry.
Nah,
Sorry.
it's cool. It's cool. Yeah, I think I'll say I don't really understand sports, but the goblins are hot, so we'll help.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm gonna roll edge. Let's see how it goes. Okay, rolling 2 dice. Da, da, da. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I did roll for your party. I forgot how to do this. Okay.
Yeah, I only did roll for your party so you could save the dice on the table for yourself.
Yeah. Oh, is this true? Am I gonna take this? I'm staring. It hasn't moved again.
That is boxcars. It looks like to me.
Okay. Yeah, because I was so hurt last time. I rolled a 6 and Leandra saw a 1, and I had to share my screen just to prove it. Anyway, but yes, boxcars.
Yeah, so you get to pick 3 from the Get the Job list.
Ooh, this is fun.
With Intel and Gear, you can pick any of those twice if you want.
Oh wow, the job pays well. Let's do that.
Okay.
This is Shadowrun. And this is so good. Does anybody have anything else they want to pick for sure?
Design moves to third column.
I'm kind of drawn to the meeting doesn't attract attention, just so we have a head start. But I'm good with anything.
Intel is a resource which is spent in play to give yourself a +1 before or after a roll. Gear allows you to produce a piece of equipment you need on the fly.
Yeah, I don't care so much about employer being identifiable. So
yeah, same.
I'd probably go Intel just to save somebody's bacon.
Yeah, let's do that. So
one Intel, and you got one more pick.
Yeah, and
Say the gear sounded cool.
I know. Yeah, let's go Intel Gear, and the job pays well. I think
Okay, then I'll Intel Gear, and I will now go to the legwork phase clock because we will probably see someone in the background, kind of watching this, and they know that things are in the works. Here is what Mr. Johnson will tell you. What we know is that Renraku has hired a street group, someone with plausible deniability, to do something in the near future. We expect the next 48 hours. There's a playoff game coming up. We want you to find out who it is, figure out what they're doing, and put the hurt on them. Everybody, by the way, can now mark XP because you took a job.
And we have to hit 10 XP for a level up, right?
Yes.
Boy.
Yes, it is a little wild. Okay. And
Says the guy whose game needs 8.
Yeah, but it's easy because then you just have to roll your heartstrings.
That's true.
So I'm going to put, let me see what the best thing, on the clocks page. I'm going to scroll back up. Next to the clocks, I'm going to put the directives for the mission. So when you take the job, mark XP. When you find out who's been hired to hit the team, mark XP. When you figure out what they plan, mark XP. When you mess them up, mark XP. And when you get paid, mark XP. So those are the XP points throughout the play. Now, here comes one of the more interesting things. How do you determine how much you get paid? Well, each of you is going to stake some cred. You can stake 1, 2, or 3 cred. In a normal mission, if you succeed, then you would get double your cred. But you've chosen pays well, so you'll get triple your cred. That sounds great. So why wouldn't you stake 3? Well, for one thing, when you stake it, you lose it. It's gone. For another thing, every person who stakes 3 cred will push up the legwork clock by 1 because you're making some noise, you're making demand, pushing the mission parameters a little bit higher. So Grumpsh, how much do you wish to stake on this mission?
Friends, I'm sorry. I'm staking 3.
Okay. I will tick the legwork phase up. Actually, action phase goes up 1 first and then next. And what about you, Spark?
I know better than to get attention. I'm going to stake 2.
Okay. And Jinshu?
I only just this second found that I start with cred.
Okay.
So I'll
The
stake
game
1.
giveth and taketh away.
I didn't realize that I had money, so I just find $1 in my pocket.
Oh, I'll put this towards it. And then Damien, what about you?
I too shall stake 2.
Okay. So we have 1 tick on the legwork phase, 1 tick on the action phase. So the way this works is I'm going to let you all chat for a second about how you want to approach this, and then we'll do a once around on the legwork phase. Describing what you do, hitting the streets, all of that kind of thing. One of the moves that is a non-rolled move is declare a contact. And that's where you say, we can do this once per session or once per mission, say, hey, I know a guy, here's what they're like. And then you go and talk to them, that kind of thing. So that is the way that you can figure things out. So do the 4 of you have a place you meet up? Is it in the back of the 18-wheeler? Is it there?
How can it not be?
Yeah. Jinshu,
Yeah,
what
can
do
it
you
look like from Speed Racer, like where their hideout is in the truck?
I think that's great. Do you approve of that, Jinshu?
Yeah, nice.
Okay. So the 4 of you are around. I don't know if you want to discuss about tactics or we want to roll forward. What do you think about the mission, Damien?
Yeah, I think it sounds too good to be true. Because I know, looking at our skill set, we just have to point Grumsh at anything and they will hurt. So I'm a little worried that there's some sort of catch that we don't know about. But I'm also willing to just walk in and meet that catch halfway. But I tell this to the group in front of the piranha tank, like it's no big deal.
Right.
I brought in the piranha tank, just to be clear. So
It's a gift.
yeah, from like a fan. I have a band. It's a very bad band.
Other thoughts, Grumsh?
Yeah, it is a pretty low stakes thing, right? So hoping we can make a little noise, make a little cred, but probably a good idea to do some more research. Spark, what are your thoughts? I always like your perspective.
I'm just really happy that we've kind of gotten in the pockets of the popular sports arena that pays well. I'm tired of these little rinky-dink jobs that, there isn't much money associated with it because, they need help and all of that. And we can funnel this money from the corporations into a better place.
Didn't you? You feel an agreement on that social consciousness for your activities?
Well, I do think it's important to have entertainment that's true and free of as much corp influence as anything in this world can be. I I have some contacts left in broadcasting, especially entertainment broadcasting. Maybe I could track down something.
All right. In that case, Jinshu, I'm going to start with you. Let's do a once around of moves, going and getting things, talking to people. And again, with any kind of like figuring out thing, we always assume that the next player who goes knows the information from the previous player. Okay. So Jinshu, what do you do?
So I mean, Renraku isn't particularly entertainment media focused, so they've got to have a relatively small entertainment force army out there. So yeah, I'm trying to get call in like network contacts and see if anybody's heard of Renraku making a move in this area recently.
Tell me about this contact that you have.
I think this is someone on the broadcast side rather than the production side of things. That like my people, whatever. Mitsuhama. I've already forgotten words. So this is someone who's in charge of like a regional distribution over like a couple of countries sort of area, working with different broadcasters and network systems. Let's see. Shadowrun name generator, do something. Feedback.
Okay. So you go and talk to your friend Feedback, go and track them down, and they're an elf. And because the elves love being in the spotlight. Elves love publicity. It's a cultural thing. They really do enjoy that. There's a certain pressure to perform. There are various elvish tiger moms that push their kids to get lots of music lessons and things like that. So you'll go and talk to them, and they meet you in a mobile office. They have one of those things where when they meet you somewhere, they put a little projector up and it looks like their office, so they have a little bit of control over the environment. And you kind of are asking them for some help on this, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm scouting out some possibilities for new work. Small up and coming teams trying to break their way into the broadcast realm, but God, it's just it feels like every year there are more and more corps involved in this sort of thing. Have you heard that Renraku's moving into sports entertainment?
Let's have you roll style.
Let's see, I have some style, don't I? Yes, I have +1. Oh, a safely primed corgi. I love this room. Let's see. Is he in a rare situation where no one has chosen blue yet? Ha, mine. Damn it, blue. That's a 6.
Oh no, the blue betrayed you.
She's just saying such nice things about you.
Well, then what I'm going to do is I will click up the legwork phase clock by a tick. As your friend goes, it's interesting that you're asking about this. I know that there are various players moving on this field. Listen, I know you didn't come here just to kind of check on these things. Let me ask you a question, because I heard that I should bet against the goblins in an upcoming match. Is that not the case?
Well, I mean, I don't know what the goblins. You said I haven't heard of this particular team. What? I'm sorry. What were we talking? Betting?
Look, I know that a corporation has been looking to cause some problems for the goblins who are currently in the playoffs. So if you and your associates maybe are looking into this situation, I'll give you a name.
Well, I mean, but you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. It's fine. It's just, look, a couple of people. Look, it's an up and coming team. We're just trying to support them. Maybe we're doing a little behind the scenes work to.
Well, did I give you the impression that it was anything other than that? That I had any sort of disbelief for what you're saying? I hope I did not.
Look, we're working the job. Do you have a name or not?
Yes. I've heard that they've hired a group called Static Shroud. Beyond that, I don't know much of anything. But I hope that'll help you.
Yes, I'm. You always know a connection, and that's helpful.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Just keep it quiet.
100%. You walk out, and we literally see the phone come up the moment that you're out the door. Like you might look back, and he's like, "Oh, what?" Oh,
yeah. I'm out the door. The door closes. I hit the communicator to Vanguard. Were you listening? I think that went well. And I just hear this like infinite sigh. Yep, that.
And so the other thing is, I think that he knows that Mitsuhama is looking for you, and he'll probably also drop a dime there. Damien, what are you doing? You've been given this name. Oh, and by the way, if anybody has any start of session moves or anything like that, remind me of those. I don't think anybody does, but
yeah. I think Damien is going to get what information they can. Okay, so if I understand the move, I can declare an NPC, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like once per session. So Leanne Shade is a tattoo artist. And it's one of those things where if you go in and you point at a specific type of tattoo, like they have this like cheap flash book that they give to the people they don't take seriously. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Gray. Leanne Gray. And so if you point at a specific tattoo, they'll take you to the back. You can ask for information. I believe that for now, I think Leanne owes me. I helped her and her ex talk through things. I'm very good at listening. And so now they're amicable with each other. So I asked Leanne for help in getting information.
Want to find out about this Static Shroud group?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. She's probably got her little tool she's working on. Someone. Okay. Let's have you roll with style.
Yeah. Okay. So. Okay. Where is it? What's my style? Okay. Rolling. I'm going to keep this other die. I'm going to add 1. Okay, I'm gonna roll. Okay, it hasn't moved. It's a 6.
The 6 total?
It was a 3 for a second, but
yes.
Hey, it's still. But
the good news is for both of you, for you and Jinshu, is you get to mark XP.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And you see her stop. I don't think you noticed that maybe her promise band to her colleague, the one that you work things out with, she isn't wearing that. You think you assume it's just a job thing, but we can see that maybe something has happened with that. And she'll say, yeah, I know who they are. They're kind of a nasty merc group, but they don't work direct. They work below the radar. They've got some stuff. They've got a wizard scientist in their playbook, and it's kind of wicked. Leader's name is Bagraba. But I mean, that's all I know.
No, that's more than enough. I really appreciate your time, and I think, like, just to really sell the miss, I keep looking at the missing promise band. I'm like, are things, should we have another talk at some point, or
Oh no, we're all good.
okay. You know, me and the boys, we're here for you anytime. You can drop by after a show and just let me know.
And I think we see you walk out, and I think we see another one of the tattoo artists come over and go, "That's them?" She goes, "Yeah. That's who I heard she was cheating with. Tried to help me out. Yeah, well, I got some numbers I can call."
Nice.
Grumsh.
Yeah. So every time that we reach out for more information, we make getting paid more difficult, right?
Every time you reach out for more information and either fail, or like with Hit the Streets, one of the things is that you can choose as an option is requesting to attract unwanted attention. So what it'll do is it'll sort of alternate between a tick on the legwork clock and a tick on the action clock. Okay. Action clock being how prepared your opponents are.
All right. Then I think I'll just go ahead.
Because you got plenty of room. There's plenty of room there. That clock has got.
I got a lot of cred riding on this here.
That's true.
I'm going to hit the street, I think.
Okay.
Just try to get more information about Bagraba and Static Shroud.
Okay. Who's your contact?
Oh, do I okay.
You give us a name. Yeah.
Oh, right, because you go to a contact for help. Cool. DL.
Okay.
Is her street name? It's for Doriana Liu. She's really bad at hiding her identity, seeing as she had it tattooed on. I think maybe she goes to this Leanne Gray's. Got some of the work done there.
Absolutely. It might even be the partner that she's broke up with right now.
Oh yeah, that seems like a terrible idea. I'm into it. But DL is still a member of the Hat Reds. Doesn't know that I screwed him over. So at least I don't think she knows. All right, cool.
Grumsh. Where do you meet her?
Probably meet her at that Halloweener bar that I was at earlier, the Go Gang bar. It's pretty rough and tumble, but cheap drinks.
You arrive there. She's glad to see you did some stuff together before. She says, hey, I hear you're running with a new crew.
Yeah. Gotta pay the bills, right?
I hear you're running with that Damien.
And where'd you hear that?
Just because I follow his band and stuff, and just heard from a friend of a friend.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. Listen, I'm trying to find some information about Static Shroud and Bagraba. You know anything? Help me out a little bit.
Let's have you roll.
All right, here we go.
So this roller can continuously betray us.
Let me refresh because no one can trust this die roller. That would be an 11.
That would be an 11. Holy moly. So you get an additional, you can have additional gear or intel.
I think I'll take intel. That's always nice to boost one of those failed rolls, so I'll take that.
She says, they're kind of a nasty group. Like most street rippers and samurai, they'll box you, in an alley, and they'll put a bullet in you. They like to work nasty, tailored viruses. Some magicient or canotech crap. That's what I heard. They've got a guy in their employ named Ekstrom, and he's the one who does it. Essentially, it's Vagraba, Ekstrom, and then they have a revolving cast of people that are both hitters and faces that can get into places. They operate out of a plastisheathed, depreciated parking garage. Got foreclosed on and got plastic sprayed, but they cracked through that, and they use that, just got a couple of entrances cut in and out.
Oh. Good deal. Probably want to stay a block away from that for a few days. KD?
No problem. Hey. Maybe you talk to your friend Damien. Maybe you see if you can hook me up with some extra tickets to the next show. Maybe a backstage pass kind of thing.
Maybe pass it along.
And maybe don't say anything because I want to play it all casual.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
It was good seeing you.
It's good seeing you. She looks excited.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Spark, what do you want to do?
So I have a pretty good connection to the magical community, around, and there's a lot of magical connections I keep hearing about going on with this sports team where they're manipulating all sorts of things. So I think I'm going to go to, I have a contact named Cell Smith.
Okay.
And I put a picture in the NPCs tab. And she's an ex-member of my order. She now plays for an amateur team called the White Needles. And I'm going to go to her to see if she knows about anything about, how they might be juicing this or who it might be. I think we know who it is. So
yeah, let's have you roll that hit the streets.
Awesome. And I have a move that changes my hit the streets from style to touch.
That is nice.
Yeah. I rolled in. Do you mind if I roll physical dice?
Oh, absolutely. You're always welcome to roll physical dice. Yes.
I rolled an 8 and my touch is a 2, so that gets me a 10.
So do you want extra intel or gear?
How are we sitting on each?
2 intel, 1 gear.
Let's do gear.
Okay.
Just to balance it out.
Yeah. And she says, well, here's the thing is they've got some serious judges and referees. They're tight. They're good. So nobody's going to juice. They got real limits. I mean, in between seasons, they spend all this time arguing about, what's the level of cyber tech that you can have at what positions and so on. And, what weapons are allowed, like what's the length of the spikes on the shoes that you can use for combat kicking when you go for a slide, how much can you weaponize the ball when you're the pitcher, that kind of thing. So they check that out. What if you wanted to mess things up? You'd actually, you wouldn't juice one side. You'd put a hurt on the other.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. You'd hit them. These guys aren't full-time players. All of them have other jobs, so it's not like they're not exposed.
Ah.
So that's the thing I would expect is happening.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And do you know how they might be exposing these people?
I don't know if they have yet or not. I know there was some stuff last year, but I don't know. If you're asking me how I would do it, one of the things is they get, because it is like a semi-pro, semi-amateur stuff, they get a lot of neighborhood donations and things like that, and including like food. And that's what I would do is I would figure out who's paying for the food, delivering the food, and I'd work it that way. Though, there's going to be some checks obviously on that, but if you're good enough, you might be able to do something and keep it, because that's easy enough to pass off as food poisoning then.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Check you out later. By the way, you have to figure out who's doing this so everybody gets to mark XP. Should we bring the group together for a chat about what next step is, or do we want to do another once around? Sounds like maybe a chat. So we're back in the 18-wheeler light. We'll probably hear the vibration. We can tell that it's moving even as you're doing the discussion.
It's Mother, by the way.
Mother.
Again, all capitals, all periods.
And because it has to be, I imagine in the scene that Spark, Jinshu, and Damien are already there, and Grumish has to drive up the back ramp with the bike as the truck is moving. To
it's like
arrive.
In the middle of traffic and everything, just like close back up.
So good.
Nondescript 18-wheeler,
as
far as that goes.
Absolutely.
Like a bottled water delivery company.
Who's doing this, and you have a general sense of what they can do, and you have a location. What is the next step? Spark?
So I think that we can continue investigation and continue looking for how they're feeding this into people, and potentially what we're doing. But I'm a little worried that we're getting bogged down in the details. I think action is what comes next. What do you guys think?
So there is that juicy XP of when you figure out what they plan, mark XP.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you probably figure that out when you kill them all. I'm assuming that'll happen.
Oh, good point. Yeah. Shadowrun. Yeah.
And I think that's actually probably the car saying that. You'll figure that out when you kill them all.
At the car. Good choices.
Like this car.
Damn it, Vanguard, we don't have stinger lines. We're not going to commercial.
And Damien is like...
Maybe
just,
you don't have
posing on top of the car for no reason. Like from Utena. Like, what's his name? Like the president, just like...
Oh, yeah. He's draped out across it.
Yeah.
Is there some way that we could try and, like, detect this stuff rather than the person or where they're planting it? If we could try and follow...
I was thinking we'd blow up the parking garage where they are. The whole fragging thing.
I mean, that's plan B, maybe?
We could even pass it off as some kind of, like, city thing, because it's already condemned. Just pop a few grenades in there, squeeze off a few rounds for the ones that run out.
Is anyone else in there?
I don't know.
I mean, there's the city's packed. There's definitely got to be someone in there.
Come on, you name yourself Static Shroud. Anybody who's in there, they want in there.
I'm just saying, maybe like not wanton property destruction and explosions would be a better way to go. Maybe like a slightly quieter way.
I gently object to the term "better." I mean, it's a pretty viable option.
Which, I mean, it's very...
I'm okay with different options. Let's not put value judgments on my plainly laid out, solve it today.
All right. Well, how about
In
let's
brainstorming,
explore.
all ideas have the same value.
Let's
Thanks, Carr.
explore differently exothermic options then.
All right. I'm into it. These guys work in
Suddenly got very quiet.
viruses. That's going to be tough stuff, right? I mean, can't really wrap the goblins in plastic. I mean, we could, but they probably wouldn't play too well.
I'm the only one that can't hear Rich,
You're the only one who can't hear Rich,
or
Yeah, I
any
can
of
hear.
you.
or any of
Exciting.
us.
Oh,
Oh,
Let's give Patrick just a second.
all right.
We should probably continue talking so that he can tell if it comes back.
Oh, no, he's
He
going to drop.
Yeah. So.
oh yeah. Actually, this is a good time for me to double check. As I understand my magic of the bones, once I put the dice into the pool, I can't remove it, right? Like I can't say
That
like,
is
oh, I
that
want
is my. I think so. I think
Yeah,
you get to
okay.
swap them out later, but when other dice are rolled. But
Okay.
Man, I looked at the Thrall. It looked really interesting. I've never seen a game where that manipulated dice that way.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, and it feels like I want to see how it works because
Yeah.
you can't exactly plan, so it kind of feels like warlock / sorcerer, like
Yeah. So
just
whenever I
being
looked,
chaotic.
whenever I looked through it, it looked like there was a. Can you hear us, Patrick?
Yes.
Ooh,
Awesome.
hello again.
It looked like there was a move that actually allowed you to pick any number below your dice. So then you could manipulate it a little bit
Yeah, I know.
if you rolled
it's-
high. Yeah.
There's so many good moves, and I also want to get the one where you have more options, where you can store 5 instead of just 3. So
Yeah. I'm sorry, you were saying, Patrick.
Oh no, I had missed what Rich had responded with, or what Grumsh had responded with.
Right.
It was all genial. It's fine. I can't remember either. I think it was just
basically, Grumsh was getting along with the car really well. So
yeah. Car's good.
does the car get? Oh my gosh, look at that cat. Sorry. Does the car get along with everybody else better? Like, is that a thing? Oh my gosh, hello, baby.
Jeez.
Car
So
probably seems to have
infinitely demanding.
slightly more, respect for the others.
So let's see. The car is just because we're talking about Vanguard. Where to go? Strength is fast. Looks are flashy and quirky, and their weakness is picky. So they're very like all in or not at all on people.
Did you bring food in? There's no eating in the car. Do you understand that?
Everything in here's in the car.
So it sounds to me like maybe we need to do like some casing the joint kind of thing to get a sense of what's going on. Maybe.
Yeah, let's go check them out. To see what they're doing and find the most structurally critical pillars that one might need to explode. Multiple avenues of exploration.
Right. Before we move there physically, let me see who I can talk to. And I think I have a little corner where I have this like strange little cyber shrine over there. Let me see who I can talk to. And I'm going to activate, it's called, let's see. I think it's called Spirit Contacts. You can use blood magic to summon a spirit for information. When you do so, hit the streets with touch instead of style.
Let's have your roll.
Yeah. But yeah, I will go into the details what the blood magic looks like. But it's all like cyber, like, what's that music video? There's like a group that does really good gothic cyberpunk stuff. Yeah, so I'm gonna roll +2. Gonna add another die. Okay, then I'm gonna roll. Okay. Are you gonna stay? Yes. It's an 11 ++. So I'm gonna. Oh, which one do I get? Okay, wait. I'm gonna focus on the roll first. Yes. So it's a good roll.
So you're gonna call up a spirit related to this kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Can I say it's someone? Am I allowed to say who the spirit is? Like.
Well, you're trying to find some spirit that would have some connection that can give you information on these guys, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping to find someone who used to work with them and got offed in accident or on purpose. Or
I think what you will get is, I think the spirit will bubble up and you'll realize it's not a ghost, but it's an actual like elemental force spirit that'll kind of roil up and form there, and it's kind of bubbly, and you realize that it is a disease spirit.
oh, so cool. But yeah,
And
yeah.
it'll be like, hey, what do you want, you guys? Big wet mouth sound.
Oh, you look looking good, friend.
Oh, all the workouts.
Yeah, I can see. I should get your regimen. I'm just naturally beautiful, so I don't actually have to exercise. But
Why have you called me?
yeah, we need some help. I think we need a little more information on a space, and I connected to that space. So when you came, so I think you're the right being who can help me. And I give him the exact address, like I show him on the map.
Oh yeah. My friend Ekstrom.
Your friend.
Oh yeah, he has some of us there where he's asking us to work on a nice, long, slow, subtle bake of some stuff. It's fun. He doesn't want anyone to pick up on us when we're in it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, sounds like a really good time. Nice.
Oh yeah.
Long-term job you got there. Job security is good.
Well, not long term. We're doing this job and then he's delivering the stuff.
Oh, so you'll be out on the market again soon.
Yeah. But Ekstrom works with us a lot, feeds us, got nice little petri dishes. Petri? I'm not sure how to say that.
Yeah. What do you mean? What does he feed you?
Oh, blood sacrifices, all the good stuff, you know.
Just regular blood sacrifice, nothing special,
What
nothing
might
laced
be,
for you.
it's a word, you know,
Yeah, I mean, you just seem like the kind of guy who deserves a little extra. You know what I mean?
Okay. What are you saying?
Well, I'm sure you've heard of the good mistress, Sister Midnight.
Oh, you're gonna proselytize, aren't you?
I don't like that term so much.
Neither do I. I should probably get going back. It's a very busy schedule today. Got to get all these hot dogs and bratwurst set.
All right, I appreciate your time. Remember to keep the line open.
Oh, okay. Talk to you later. And you rolled like a high number, right? To get that?
10 plus.
10 plus. So you also get to pick, do you want an intel or a gear?
Yeah, what is what again? Which one is what?
Intel is a bonus on the roll. Gear is produce an object.
Let's go with intel.
Okay. So you get some intel, you get some gear, got a location, you got some viral payload, disease spirits, and you got a parking garage covered in high tensile plastic.
Yeah, I kind of give Spark this like significant look, like you saw who I talked to kind of look. Like we know what we're up against.
No. Vanguard, it's okay. Calm down. No, remember last time we installed the blood filters so it all stays in that corner. None of it's going to get on your... Shh, it's okay. Shh.
Like, We need a Roomba. Just a blood Roomba. I keep telling you that.
I will use my pay to buy a blood Roomba. Don't worry, dear.
So shall we kind of cut forward to the mission site? Sounds like decisions will be made on site. So yeah, we cut to this building. You know, it's a 4 or 5 story parking garage. It's covered in this blue, like baby blue plastic that's been sprayed all over it to lock it down. But you know that around the sides there's some space for it to, they probably cut some flaps to get into it. You can kind of make out through the semi-translucent of it, some of the spaces and windows and things like that. It's a nasty neighborhood. Probably smells like a weird combination of cheese and hand sanitizer, kind of wafting through the air in a mixture. In the distance, you probably hear like a whole set of automated warnings that people have put on that they haven't figured out how to turn off. They're low and scrambling around. And we probably see on the street a knocked over street sweeper bot, the little spongy things kind of trying to work. It's like a turtle on its side there. Who wants to assess or that's the right one, which is an edge roll.
I'll do that.
Okay, Spark, you're checking this out.
Yeah. And basically, I'm, in the shadows, I'm watching to see who's entering and exiting and see if I can't get anything off of them. Like they're the ones who, this is the person who would be making the contact with and maybe delivering the diseased goods or something like that.
Sure.
Awesome. So that's edge. I have a 1 in edge and I rolled an 8. So that gives me a 9.
So you get 1 hold, which will allow you to ask a question from the edge list, and you can take +1 forward. Now, you could have someone help you, and they would roll links to potentially bump that up.
Was anyone helping?
I can be helping.
Yeah.
Great.
Roll your links with Spark.
Yeah. So I think while the rest of the group is approaching in Vanguard, I'm on the motorcycle, Arrow, all caps, all periods. And just without explanation, I'm like on the roof of a building across the street on the motorcycle. It has off-road, and I'm just taking it as very off-road.
Absolutely. You have spike tires. You can go side to things.
See, you get it. All right, links, so that's +1. Are you... Oh, better? Any better? Okay, no, we're going to stop there. All right, 8.
8. So yeah, that'll push that up by 1. So you have 3 hold for your assess, Stephen.
Okay. So I think my first question then will be, what is my best way in or out?
The roof plastic is probably the thinnest. It's been most subject to kind of the elements, and it would be no problem to bust through that to get down in to the parking garage.
So I think that's Jinshu's help, as he's like got some binoculars up on the roof. He's scanning that and like talking to you over a radio link.
Nice. That makes a lot of sense, especially with this strange rain we've been having recently. What about what do I notice despite an effort to conceal it?
Because of the thermals and things like that, it looks to you like whatever is like going on in terms of magical background radiation is happening there on the top floor, essentially below the roof floor. there's that floor where you can kind of pick up heat and mana and things like that. And you guess that's probably where this guy's lab is at.
Nice. So we can kind of get almost a thermal map of the magical energies about this is where the quadrant of the roof we should go down in to infiltrate the lab.
That does seem like, yeah.
Yeah, I make sure everybody's aware this is where the hit will happen. What potential complication do I need to be wary of?
I think it is that they are like you see the guards are a little antsy. Like you see a guy kind of doing watch, like clearly they have been told that there's something up, and they're definitely a little more on edge than they might otherwise be.
So I tell Grumsh, that's your job, is, making sure that they, are less anxious probably in the ground. Right?
Read my mind. It's like magic, Spark.
That is magic, Grumsh.
It's the magic of friendship. So Grumsh got some people on the ground to probably maybe even see a transport vehicle for eventually when they move these knot dogs out, and got this building that is a tactical delight. What do you want to do?
Are we, so is this team good if we just move on this building?
Well, so
Okay.
here's an option that I'll toss out. What if we use movement at the base where the guards are as a distraction while someone goes into the top with the where we think the lab is?
I think the only way we could get to the top is if someone had some kind of jump, and then the vehicle could, I'm just imagining that if we had a vehicle that could go from one building in through the air and land
Only,
somewhere on the top
only
of
there
the
was some sort
building.
of stunt capable vehicle somewhere around here.
I'm a little stuck.
It's weird how there are all these ramps kind of marked in pink on all the tops of all these buildings.
I thought this was just some flimsy plywood, but I'm kicking it. This is really sturdy. It's like someone's built this in as a long-term thing.
There are parkour gangs. There probably is a certain amount of the rooftops being built for those kinds of passages. But yeah,
There's a lot of hollow graffiti up here too.
arrows. So I hear Grumsh hitting the door, or hitting the ground floor, or doing something messy. Maybe backed up by Damien or Spark.
Yeah, I'll probably back up, Grumsh.
Okay, and then Jinshu, team one, ramping it over.
Yeah,
Damien?
and if y'all need a vanguard to act as a distraction while y'all sneak out of them or whatever, I can totally do that.
Damien, where do you want to be? Do you want to be with Jinshu, or do you want to be on the ground causing a mess?
Yeah, I think I can do that with my snapping gang. We can cause a mess. But before I separate from Grumsh, who's going to be in the ground? It's going to be...
I know Grumsh and Spark are.
Okay. But I definitely want to... Okay, I'm just making sense of this move. I want to call forth first so I can activate one of the runes.
Okay.
And see if it goes according to plan. So I'm going to roll. I'm going to add another die. It's so funny I have to keep adding die. Okay. Okay, I'm going to roll.
That looks like an 11 to me.
Excellent. I mean, yes. Okay. So that means... Sorry, I'm still getting used to this. Okay.
Sure.
Call forth. Okay. Yes. 7+, choose any 2 dice from the pool, trigger the effect of the table below that matches the 2 numbers, showing the dice you chose. And I don't have to choose a drawback because I didn't get a 7 to 9. So I'm going to grab the 6 and 6. To activate the bones, allow minor time manipulation. Give to an ally. While they possess the bones, they may re-roll the dice and take the new result. The dice are then returned to you. So I'm going to take out. I'm wearing this like hot leather jacket, right? And on the inside, the runes are there. I like pick them out, and this is not the first time Grumsh and I have done this. I just hand it over. Like he knows what to do.
Grumsh, they're a little bit alert. Tell me what you do.
It appears that this is some kind of charge situation.
I would say so.
How many of them are at the front?
You see 2 plus probably a driver, and you know there's more probably on the inside, kind of on alert.
Sweet. Sounds like it needs a serious badass. So I am going to do this. Rich realizes this is a pretty bad idea, but
yeah.
You know, it's easy to make a character. So here we go. I'm going to roll with style, which is a +1.
Okay.
And when I enter a charged situation, I gain hold, which means that I can make certain NPCs present freeze or flinch and can't act until I break it off. That will be a 6 +1 from my style, makes it a 7.
So that gives you 1 hold, right?
Yeah. So there's a couple of guards, so I'll walk
they're
up to
there,
one.
They're watching, and then you kind of come out maybe from around a corner kind of thing.
Yeah.
What do we see?
I got a pretty good gander as I stroll up like I'm meant to be there. And I do just a kind of a quick point to the guy on the right. So I'm looking at the guy on the left to keep his attention. But the other guy is the one that I'm saying, like, you're going to flinch until I break this off.
Okay. And they're like, hey,
Listen,
dude.
Jummer. Hoy.
Hey, you need to step off.
Listen, something real bad is about to happen right now. You got an opportunity to just walk away.
Let's have you play hardball.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll be rolling with edge. Exact same result, so I'm going to reroll. Is that cool?
Okay, sure.
All right, 7 + 1 is an 8. I'll just ride with the 8. I'm playing a hardball. The MC gets a choice. Okay.
I see 9 on the dice for your last roll, Rich.
Do? Oh, God. Please. Hey, it got better.
So that's a 10, right?
I'll take it. Thank you, die roller, for once. Thanks, Patrick, for having keen eyes.
There is that moment when you kind of probably flex and what is it about your cyberware or your gun demonstration that makes them go, we need to clear out from this doorway?
It's the tat along his neck of the UCAS military, Spec Ops.
And then one guy goes, and there's this slow motion, and they start running for cover, Grumsh, as they realize they're out, they're exposed, they're not being paid enough to get gunned down by you in this doorway. You know, they're probably going to call and alert people, but they are running, and they're instantly aimed at self-preservation rather than raising the alarm.
Good.
Spark, what do you do?
So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to summon a creature, and let's see what that looks like. So
Yes.
This is a roll with touch. I rolled an 8 + 2 is 10. Which it has I get to choose an attribute. So the 2 choices I have are humanoid or insectoid. If you don't mind, in the theme of Shadowrun, let's say it's a demon instead of an insect.
Yeah.
But it has all the stats and the stuff.
Yeah.
So I put a picture of the demon over in the NPCs tab. And it has. I can mix it up with touch, through this demon, and it has fire and flying.
So is it blazing a trail into the building then?
So I think that the way that this looks on screen is Grumsh tells these two guys, you should leave. And I think they're running away and probably starting to get on their radios where there's this burst of brimstone as this demon kind of just steps out, flutters its wings, and then goes to stand next to Grumsh.
Okay. Damien, what are you doing?
Yeah. Okay. So how do things look right now? We have
The door is
demon.
secured, but the alert has not been raised inside. But you've got Grumsh and a demon at the door waiting to kick in.
Yeah. I think my boys don't need to come in yet. Between the demon and Grumsh, they're going to be a backup plan instead. Yeah, I'm going to. Okay, what do I have? I have right now a 6 and a 5. I'm going to. Yeah, I'll just hold on. I'll just follow everybody else's lead for now.
Okay. So while that noise is going on, Vanguard, Jinshu. Sorry, just a main character.
I'm the star here.
I know. I was gonna say.
You want to like fly over to the roof, as it were?
Make a sweet roof-to-roof jump? Yeah, totally.
I think that's going to be act under pressure. Yeah, your cat agrees.
She is just.
She's
I'm
so
sorry.
cute.
That's okay. No, it's great.
I love her so much.
So let's see. Arrow, the motorcycle strengths are quiet and off-road. So there's just this sort of like electric motor whining sound, very quiet as it speeds up. Looks are sleek and powerful, and it is cramped. So even for a motorcycle, it's small. But it does have an autocannon hidden somewhere in there. But that's probably not going to come up at all.
Okay.
So this was, you say act under pressure?
Yeah.
So as well, roll cool plus your car's power. So motorcycle's power is 2. My cool is something 2. Jeez. Wow. Okay.
I think max is +3 on rolls, is my recollection on this.
That looks like an 8. Nope. Now it looks like a 9.
Says 9 total?
Nope. +3, 12.
It's at 12 total. So there is that jump. You hit that plastic. You shatter it out in like a road. It kind of sprays out, but it's noisy up here. Those alarms in the distance are going off, so it doesn't. And it'll open up the, like, you're at the top of a parking garage, the drive down to that first floor, and you can sail down into there unimpeded. Does that seem fair?
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
I think you'll.
There's like the streak of neon from some of its lights as I go across between the buildings. Nice swerve down there.
Hit that, you take that turn into the thing and come down the second floor, and you will see this Arcanotech lab set up there. And you can see they've got, big glass tubes of weird colors and filters and scales and all kinds of things around, and boxes and boxes of hot dogs and bratwursts. And you'll see this older human. He has what you recognize as, like, he tried to do wizard tat scars when he was young and did them very badly, and now he's grown up, so he's kind of tried to let his hair grow long to cover it. And he's doing some magical shit when you come tearing down that thing, and he's like, I think in slow motion, he's like, oh, shit, as that is going on. Okay, let's cut to Grumsh. You hear that whee overhead.
Nice. That's so good. I love it. So we still have a driver outside, right? Who was coming around the corner. If I remember, there was a driver on the street. when
I
you
think that
walking
driver
through.
is
That guy's
probably gone with the other two. I think you're
Good call.
at that door.
Smart.
He's not going to protect the buns that way.
Fair. I'm going in.
Okay.
I assume Spark's behind me, so I'll be making sure I'm in front, so Spark doesn't have to deal with that. I've got a demon with me, but I still go in first. Like, what's up with that? But
let's have you mix it up.
Sweet. He's drawing out his Ares Predator.
Absolutely.
By the way, giving up a whole move for a gun that's basically the same as the other guns is stupid, but I did it anyway because I was not allowed to do otherwise. It's a dumb move. It's the only dumb move I've found in Sprawl so far.
There are a couple of others,
I'm sure. So mixing it up is meat. My meat is a +2, and
Okay.
I have. Hold on, let me refresh before I call it out. So I've rolled a 6 + 2 makes it an 8. I think I'm just going to write out the 8. If I ever roll a 9, I promise you guys I'm using an int.
Okay. So choose 2.
Sweet. I will make too much noise.
Okay.
Why did I make too much noise? I got a silencer.
I think it might be the kicking in the door and the people screaming.
Okay, that seems fair. I like that. Thank you. And I will take harm as established by the fiction.
Okay. So we see you kick in the door, and there's a group of guard people here. They are just now. Come again? What did you say? Orc? And they're all kind of looking up, and suddenly you're in the doorway. And again, parking garage. We've got those pillars. They've got beds and things. Is clearly where they crash and stuff. There's the ways going up, and they start to come up and do 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 do. But it's quiet. But I think that more the sound of their own gunfire firing back at you, and you're going to take 3 harm. This big group of people, small gang that you walk in the center of, but we get the slow-mo of them falling to the ground as you clear this first level of people here. You have armor, right?
I do. I have dermal plating, which allows me to subtract 2 from the roll when I make the harm move.
Okay.
These are not flechette tagged weapons, correct?
They are not.
Okay. So then I roll what, 2d6 for the harm?
2d6 plus
just 3
1.
plus 3 minus 2, so plus 1. So 2d6 plus 1.
You want
okay,
low,
cool.
of course.
Because okay, and now I'll refresh before I get excited. And that appears that I've rolled a 5 + 1 makes it a 6.
You get hit with this. We see you get hit. And we can see the wounds. I mean, because you take the damage. But I think there's that shrug as you keep moving. And this first floor is cleared. Spark, what are you doing? You definitely know more people upstairs who are now alert, grabbing heavier weapons. You haven't seen a Bagraba yet. What do you want to do?
I'm going to see if I can't clear out the area up above. So I'm going in behind the demon and Grumsh, just trying to stay down and hunker down and not get hit. Because I'm a squishy, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As happens in Shadowrun in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
But I think in order to get things up above, I'm going to cast what is that called? Rift Magic. So I'm going to cast Rift Magic and see if I can't blow some stuff. So how many floors is this? Is this 2 floors or 3?
5 floors.
Yeah.
Plus the roof.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to try and clear the way towards the stairwell. Grumps, you're going towards the stairwell. That's your normal operation?
Yeah. Clear one level, move up, clear next level.
Yeah. Level 1 is cleared. So if you want to move on and work level 2, Spark, you can do that.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So I'm going to, then in that case, I'm going to change and I'm going to send the demon up to level 2 to try and clear things out.
then
Yeah.
let's have the demon, or by proxy you,
Yeah.
roll mix it up.
Yeah, perfect. Mix it up. So for a summoned thing, I rolled a 7, and I think it says I roll with touch
Right.
instead of meat. So I think that's a 9. Um, I can spend an intel
To give yourself +1.
to give myself a +1 to get a 10. That sounds perfect.
So tell me what that looks like. This is sort of the second tier. These are not the guards who were kind of on duty protecting things. This is the second tier, the people who are on relaxed shift. They're going to go to a baseball game later today. They're excited. And then what do we see on screen with this demon when it pops up in their midst?
I think what we see is the door kind of burst open and then hang limply off of its hinges as the demon, and there's like this darkness and the smoke kind of rolls out from the stairway, and then all of a sudden, because it's winged, it flies through the level and everybody kind of flops back and like starts screaming as it goes through with its claws just rending at people.
Yeah, they said smoke. They're like, oh, it's a smoke grenade. And they're like, okay, get masks on. And then whoosh, the demon comes out of there. And then Grumps, you're hitting the stairwell, even as you're hearing the, you and Damien are moving up, with Spark, keeping him protected. And I assume that you'll get the confirmation from the demon. Level 2 cleared. Damien, continuing on to level 3 or what?
Yeah, I'm gonna snap my fingers and my boys will show up. And I don't know how to get them to attack. What do I roll with? Because like I've been looking at the move, it doesn't.
Mix it up is what you would roll with, I believe, with that.
So I roll with my meat. Does that make sense?
Let's see let's look at, this is your call forth, right?
Oh no, this is my gang. So it's my under high priest. It just says I have a gang. So I have 3 harm plus small plus my. It doesn't say like what I roll with. Hence my confusion.
Well, it's gang versus gang. Let's do it with let's do it with a +1. I think that makes sense, and I'll look up what the mechanic is on that.
No worries. Yeah. Totally cool. Okay. Submit, and then I'm gonna roll. Okay. Oh my God! What betrayal! From 5 to 6. It went down to a 3. Yeah, so that was not a great roll.
So what's your total?
My total is a 4. So I'm gonna mark the XP.
There you go. I think you send your tell me what we see there.
Yeah, basically, you know the Final Fantasy, that's the boy band. It's like that, except they're more vampire chic. That's what they look like.
I think they get up and they moving up on that 3rd floor, and immediately we hear the whoomp of mag rifles, essentially high speed projectiles, and the sound of chipping as barriers and things get blasted away, and they drop back down, and they're like, no, we're not going up there, and you'll hear the voice of Bagraba upstairs go, you know what? I can see you through the stone. And you'll hear this boom. And you will see this shot hit you, Damien, for 2 harm.
Okay, cool. Does my frightening help? Because I have that tag on my horror skull mask, but just asking.
I don't think with the miss.
Okay, no worries.
I'm going to make that harm move roll. Do you have any armor?
I have 1 armor.
So you just take 1 harm.
Okay,
you put 1 harm on your clock, and you roll a harm move with a +1.
I roll. Wait, let me just refresh because
Sure.
The room is freaking out on me. Okay, re-rolling. 4, 5, 6, 7. Because it's a +1, right?
Yep. So I think that your gang sees you get hit, and drop back, and they scatter. Like they run back down to level 1. I think that's the lose something result off of that. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, totally.
And you can tell Grumsh that he's got an X-ray punch rifle. Essentially, it allows him to see through barriers. It's a high-speed projectile, so he can punch the shot through concrete and things like that. We'll come back to how you want to deal with that in just 1 second. Jinshu, what are you doing?
So like, as the motorcycle is screeching to a halt, I'm just calmly stepping one leg off of it and just continuing in a slow walk forward. And I reach into my coat in that moment of like, gonna pull out a gun. And instead, I'd like to spend a gear to pull out and hold up a badge as I yell out, "FTA security forces, stop what you're doing and step away from the meat tubes," as Arrow is going to send a warning shot into one of the boxes of bratwurst as it explodes in like meat and
slow motion. It's like a Sam Peckinpah, movie there.
Because people feel good about fighting back against Shadowrunners. We're usually outgunned, but corporate security forces.
So let's have you play hardball. Now, do you want hardball or do you want this to be fast talk? Hardball is edge, kind of making a threat. Fast talk is style, where you're really working with the lies and bluster. I'm good either way.
So I'm just looking at the options on both of them. Fast talk. There we go. I think fast talk.
Okay, let's see it.
Wait, let me look here. No, hardball, because my car is helping me out, and I have a thing for that.
Okay.
So if you play hardball, roll edge plus your car's looks. This is Arrow has a looks of +2. Which is good because I don't have any edge. It's numbers, but what numbers are they? So that's 9 + 2 is 11.
I think there's that moment where you like freeze him. Like if you hadn't done this, he probably would have been able to react faster. But he does hesitate. And he's like, no, it's all cool, man. And then his hands start to come down. You see the fingers going together, and as he starts to he's about to do a gesture, and I think that's when the autocannon opens up on him, as he will take the consequences of that action, right? And what does that look like?
I mean, not pretty. It's 4 harm, area, messy, and breach. So there's just like not much left of him standing in front of a hole in the floor.
Slow, he drops. Grumsh, you're like, oh, how am I gonna deal with that guy? And then you hear this boom up in the top, and you hear this guy, what the fuck? And he's just freaking out now. Grumsh, what do you want to do?
Freaking out?
Like, he's distracted right now because suddenly there's an explosion at the disease lab up top.
Oh yeah, that seems like a thing we probably shouldn't go stick our nose in, but I definitely want that gun, so I'm gonna. I'll go ahead and squeeze off a few rounds.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I help you first with something?
Yeah, sounds fun.
Yeah. I'm going to... I mean, how do you feel about being imbued with a terrible and alien ferocity in order to gain +1 harm?
It's happened a few times.
Okay. I think it's not the first time.
Goblinization, wired reflexes, dermal plating, demon.
Okay, rolling. So that's I'm just waiting. Yes, that's an 11. Woohoo! Okay. So I get you. Let me just make sense of this again. So on an 11, it basically means I give you the thing without consequence.
Yeah.
So what I give you is An ally is imbued with a terrible and alien ferocity. Until the magic fades, that ally receives +1 harm on their attacks. You get to mark experience if their violence complicates the mission.
Grumsh.
So once again, like I imagine you just put your hand up and catch it, like without looking. Like,
Oh, that's such a cool little like moment between Damien and Grumsh. It has to be the thing. Yeah.
You go charging up that stairs to the 3rd floor. You will see that there's a gang in defensive position, but they're like all looking upstairs, at that cry and that explosion. And you'll see this big troll, who you guess is Bagraba, horns up, body armor on. He's got it's a big rifle for him. And he's starting to aim the scope up to check out what's going up on the 5th floor. Let's have you roll mix it up.
Oh yeah, this sounds delicious. So I've got a +1 harm from Damien's help, right? So
yep.
Cool. I'll keep that in mind as I roll dice and don't believe them. And now I'll just refresh. Okay. It looks like I have rolled a 6. +2 from my meat rating means I have rolled an 8. I will make 2 choices.
I will say you have intel, and you also have those boost dice that were given to you earlier.
Yeah, okay, fine. I'll use the boost dice.
Okay.
What's the boost dice do now? Is that just a plus?
You can reroll.
Oh, reroll? I'll reroll this too. Let me do that. Okay, that's great. That boost die is awesome. It just changed my 2 to... Well, hold on, let me refresh before I keep talking. Okay, I've rolled an 8 now. Okay. +2 from the meat makes it a 10, so I don't have to make any choices.
Are you more concerned right now about Bagraba or the gang?
Bagraba is a troll.
Okay, so tell me what that looks like as you... How much harm are you dealing?
Great. So I'm doing +1 from Damien's assistance, and then my handgun is 2 damage, close, near, loud, quick. So total of 3, it sounds like.
So 3. So you're not gonna. You are going to take control of the situation. Your objective is to get him back, get that gun out of his hand, and you are up on him before he can even react. That gun is firing into him. He falls back. The gun goes crashing to the ground. He's not out, but he is staggering backwards, trying to get himself reoriented. And you don't take any harm from that.
Sweet.
And just, you firing those shots off. He's trying to find some place to get cover. Spark, Bagrabuzz on his heels, but you've also got this gang here.
Right. So I think now's whenever I'm going to pull off the I'm going to cast Rift Magic and see if I can't do something. So let's see what that casting looks like. I rolled a 4 plus my touch is a 2, so that makes it a 6.
You have intel.
I do have intel. We have 2 intel left. Is that right?
I believe so.
Yes. I've never spent any, so we should have 2. Sorry.
Does anyone have a problem if I use another intel? So that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to use another intel to make that a 7 to 9. On a 7 to 9, I harness enough magical energy to create the shape of effect, but at a cost. Okay, so the shape is going to be gaseous, and I think it's going to be electricity. So it's going to be a big, burst of electricity. So that is going to be 2 harm, and centered on the troll.
Okay.
And my cost is, the effect is loud and otherwise draws attention. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So I think you will let loose with this, and there is this roiling cloud of electricity that pushes past you, Grumsh, and Damien, and lights the room up, and the troll will stagger back again, and it's mostly the gang that like they're not killed, but they're disrupted and falling back from that as electricity courses over their guns and stuff, and they're tearing back. You see the troll essentially running for the up ramp to try and get out of here. Jinshu.
I guess I'm gonna take a look at what just exploded in a lot of shrapnel and bullet shards and everything.
Well, it was a human, and it was a lot of hot dogs and bratwursts, and it was an Arcano tank of stuff they were working on. Had you failed, this would have exploded out into a virulent plague that would have affected you.
Cool.
As it is, it's a semi-stable spirit matrix of disease spirits that's hanging around.
Oh, fun. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to like contain or diffuse or get rid of this before something else blows up and this gets out everywhere.
Tell me how you do that. Do you have gear still?
Yeah, I do think we still have one gear left, don't we?
Then tell me what gear you have that you can attach to your motorbike to do that.
Then yeah, I think it's like a secondary headlamp set that comes on and like bathes this whole scene in like swirling green and purple light as it begins like chemical analysis and running through like a bioscanner subroutine here.
Mm-hmm. And that'll say, and we'll hear that the same deceased spirit that we heard earlier, like, "Oh, you asshole," and they're trying to pull back away as this thing is kind of containing it right now, kind of get that steadied and held. You're probably going to want Damien and Spark to help you, but right now you've got it, so it's not going to expand. Grumpsh, tell me how you drop this troll, because he has gotten knocked by Spark. He's got knocked by your hit. His gang is out. He's staggering back. He doesn't have a weapon. What do you do?
I quick holster the Ares Predator, and then with a steel-toed boot, slide it underneath the big rifle that he had dropped. Do a move where I kind of kick my leg up and catch it, whip it around, and I'm doing it left-handed because I need some challenge.
And what if the hole's probably gonna be about this big? Where does the hole appear on him from that shot?
Oh, I'm going center mass. So yeah, I think like right near the heart, like aiming for the A, somewhere between the Y and the A.
There is the thing when you get up, you know that this thing is like only has a couple of shots, but it's a Gauss rifle, mag fire. So it's you hear this poof, and then the troll goes. And you see him kind of look down, and I think we'll see him stagger back. He'll hit that plastic, of the barrier that's on the edge of this, and I think he'll crash through that like he's crashing through a plate glass window, slow motion, fall, the 30 feet. And, of course, that's right over where the delivery van is. So this 800-pound troll just goes, crumples it in. And the three people who are like, I think it might be okay. Oh, and they start running now. They're like waiting around, and they see their boss come flying out,
Nice.
and they will do that. And I think we will cut to also. So everybody should mark XP for figuring out what they were going to do and for messing them up.
So 2 XP.
Is that 2 XP?
That's 2 XP. And I think we will cut to the four of you back at Club Breaker, speaking with your Mr. Johnson. And someone is going to need to roll the get paid move. Right now, you have, you're going to be rolling with a +3 because you got plenty of segments left on the clock. Spark, How about we have
Oh,
you
yeah.
roll that? I think you were the last person to not roll.
I certainly will. I rolled a 7 plus 3 is 10.
All right. Damien, I'm going to give you first pick on this. Getting paid. When you go to meet and get paid by your employer, roll and add the number of unfilled segments on the labor clock. Pick 3 from the list below.
I gotta pick paid in full because it's Shadowrun.
Paid in full. You've got 2 more picks. Who else wants to pick?
Maybe we should ask the car.
Vanguard? What does Vanguard say, Jinchu?
Vanguard says that we really need to make sure we keep up on our background checks on Mr. Johnson's. This one seems okay, so it's not a setup or ambush.
Okay. Yeah. This is if you're getting paid full, nice and clean. One more pick, Grumsh.
I think I'm going to go with meeting doesn't attract the attention of outside parties because we get a whole lot of that set up.
I won't tick the clock on Renraku then. You're going to get 3 times the credit that you wagered.
Yes. So many creds.
And you also get to mark XP for completing the mission.
So if you haven't had any failures, how much XP should you have?
You should have 5.
Okay, good. That's what I have.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
You didn't have a single failure?
You
I
didn't have
didn't
any
roll.
directives?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Also check your directives to see if there's any of those that apply.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
I hit any directives.
Yeah. This is first session, so often the directives don't get hit right away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in your email, you mentioned that like you were like Rift Magic, and I see that's a directive that you have for Spark. Is that a thing that Stephen will be able to fulfill, or should we take a look at that?
Yeah, no, it'll be essentially when basically what it is if there's the opportunity to learn more magic shit of any kind,
Okay, cool.
that'll be the mark XP where I go, oh look, you go over here and ignore helping your friends.
All right.
And then
Rock
the
on.
Death
I
Star will be
just wanna
fully
make sure.
operational.
No guardrails though. Okay, awesome.
Let's see where everybody is at. Yeah.
Ooh, was I supposed
you-
to mark harm? Sorry. Like,
Yeah, so you should, well, actually, for both you and for Grumsh, neither of you took enough harm that it'd be a serious thing.
oh.
Between sessions, you can clear that. If you get to, I believe it is past 2100, then it's bad.
Okay.
So we will stop there. Usually with these, I do stars and wishes after the second session, once we have a chance to play in full. What we want to say between now and next time is take a look at your moves, see if you're happy with them. If you want to change anything out on them, we can do that. Your directives as well. If you're like, okay, this might work, better as this, feel free to do that. That is all cool. And we'll get that set. Does that seem okay with everybody?
Just a little bit of a clarifying question.
Sure. Absolutely.
You get a piece of gear that's basically like all the other pieces of gear starting move for the killer. Like it's a starting move, so that I took it because I felt like I couldn't not take it.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be okay to like do a different thing?
Yeah, let me look at that because that feels really weak. Like there's some other moves that like are roll this for this, which is another move kind of set that I don't quite care for. But that feels particularly given doesn't feel great. So let me take a look at that, and yeah, we'll figure out something to swap that out for.
Cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not super stressed about it, but like it was
it'd be more fun. It'd be more fun if it
more fun.
That's the most important thing. You like your car, Patrick?
I do. I like the whole ridiculous set of them.
And we'll get your more of your demons and your summonings and your gang on stage next time for Spark and Damien. Okay. I'm going to stop recording. If I can find the stop recording button.